At 9:47 a.m. on September 26, 2024, Ray Martinez stood in a storage facility near Alamosa, Colorado, at 7,546 feet elevation, watching the temperature control system display 38 degrees Fahrenheit, while his Frito-Lay contract required maintaining 36 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal chip processing potato storage, preventing sugar accumulation that caused dark frying and product rejection. 60 years old, second-generation San Luis Valley potato grower. 800 acres producing 32,000 hundredweight annually for chip manufacturing. The facility's primary cooling compressor had failed at 3:20 a.m. Backup systems were maintaining 38 degrees Fahrenheit but couldn't reach specification, and his storage held 180,000 hundredweight of russet Norcota potatoes worth $1.89 million at contract prices. Product that would begin converting starches to sugars within 72 hours at current temperature, causing fry color degradation that would trigger contract rejection and force sale as cattle feed at $4.50 per hundredweight versus chip grade $10.50 per hundredweight. Standard practice said, wait for the $28,000 replacement compressor arriving tomorrow afternoon. Accept minor temperature elevation for 30 hours and hope sugar conversion remained below rejection thresholds. Martinez had 800 acres still unharvesting with 10 days remaining in optimal harvest window, a second storage facility at 89% capacity, and Frito-Lay's quality inspector scheduled to sample his storage in 5 days. He called an HVAC contractor in Denver. Someone could install emergency cooling capacity before sugar conversion destroyed $1.2 million in contract value. San Luis Valley's potato empire operates as America's highest elevation major potato production region, 60,000 acres at 7,500 plus feet elevation, producing 28 million CWT annually of specialty russet varieties, requiring unique high-altitude growing conditions, where intense sunlight, cool nights, and volcanic soils create ideal starch development for chip processing. Every September and October, GPS-guided potato diggers harvest tubers that move immediately to 30-plus controlled atmosphere storage facilities maintaining 36 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures and 95% humidity for 8 to 10 months, preserving chip processing quality for year-round supply to Frito-Lay, UTZ, and regional manufacturers requiring specific gravity measurements above 1.080, low reducing sugar content below 0.15%, and consistent fry color meeting L-value specifications of 50+. This is agriculture dependent on post-harvest storage infrastructure where temperature control determines product grade, quality degradation costs measured in millions, and high-altitude location creates both competitive advantages in growing conditions and logistical challenges in equipment access. Ray Martinez learned San Luis Valley potato farming from his father, who established the operation in 1972 when Colorado growers were transitioning from fresh market potatoes to chip processing contracts, offering price premiums for varieties meeting manufacturer specifications. His father had grown 180 acres of russet Burbank potatoes, storing in ambient temperature cellars where seasonal temperature fluctuations created quality variations, selling to processors at commodity prices averaging $6 to $7 per hundredweight. Martinez took over in 1998, expanded to 800 acres of russet Norcota, a variety bred specifically for chip processing with superior specific gravity and low sugar content, and invested $2.8 million in controlled atmosphere storage with precision temperature and humidity management systems. But storage infrastructure created new vulnerabilities. When cooling systems failed, entire seasonal production faced quality degradation that no amount of agronomic excellence could prevent. The controlled atmosphere storage facility Martinez operated cost $1.4 million to construct in 2016. The building held 200,000 CWT capacity across multiple rooms, each with dedicated refrigeration maintaining 36 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidification systems sustaining 95% relative humidity, preventing dehydration, and ventilation providing air circulation, preventing CO2 accumulation from potato respiration. The cooling compressor, a 40-ton industrial refrigeration system, ran continuously September through June, maintaining temperatures that prevented starch-to-sugar conversion while potatoes remained dormant. The system worked flawlessly for 8 years. Then it failed during peak storage season when 180,000 varieties sat vulnerable to temperature-induced quality loss. The economics were processing contract-dependent and quality-sensitive. At Frito-Lay contract rates of $10.50 per hundredweight for potatoes, meeting specific gravity above 1.080 and fry color L values above 50. Each acre yielding 400 hundredweight generated $4,200 in gross revenue. Seed costs ran $420 per acre for certified russet Norcota. Fertilizer added $380 per acre. Potatoes were nutrient-intensive, requiring precise nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium applications. Irrigation costs at high altitude, $240 per acre for center pivot systems. Pest and disease management, $185 per acre, controlling Colorado potato beetle and late blight. Harvest costs, including mechanical digging and bulk handling, $520 per acre. Storage costs, including cooling, monitoring, and handling, 85 cents per hundredweight or $340 per acre. Total costs, $2,085 per acre against $4,200 revenue. That left $2,115 profit per acre before equipment depreciation and land costs. Across 800 acres, Martinez generated $3.36 million in gross revenue and maybe $1.69 million in operating profit. After depreciation and loan payments, actual net income around $485,000. But if storage temperature failures caused sugar conversion reducing fry color L values below 50, as processors rejected loads and potatoes sold as cattle feed at $4.50 per hundredweight. Suddenly revenue collapsed to $1,800 per acre, costs consumed $2,085, and the operation lost $285 per acre or $228,000 total. The margin between chip-grade premium and feed-grade disaster was 2 degrees Fahrenheit maintained over 240 days. At 11:20 a.m., the Denver HVAC contractor had assessed the situation. Emergency portable cooling units could provide supplemental capacity within 8 hours, bringing facility temperature to 37 degrees Fahrenheit by midnight. Cost, $18,000 for rental and installation, plus $8,400 for expedited transport and overtime labor. Total, $26,400 to protect $1.89 million in stored potato value while waiting for permanent compressor replacement. Martinez authorized the emergency installation. His daughter Elena arrived at 1:40 p.m. to help coordinate harvest operations while Martinez managed the storage crisis. 34 years old, holding a food science degree from Colorado State, she'd worked the operation for 9 years while increasingly recognizing that potato farming had evolved from agricultural production into industrial supply chain management, requiring expertise in refrigeration engineering, quality chemistry, and contract law that had nothing to do with growing crops. Elena tracked data showing San Luis Valley potato production consolidating from 240 independent growers in 2000 to 85 operations in 2024, with average farm size increasing from 250 acres to 710 acres. The mid-sized growers were disappearing as storage infrastructure requirements and processor quality specifications created barriers favoring either large operations with redundant systems or complete exit from potato production. Dad, we're spending $26,400 on emergency cooling to protect contract quality on potatoes we've already grown and harvested successfully. The agronomic work was perfect. But storage infrastructure failure destroys all that. That's modern potato farming. Growing the crop is 40% of the business. Post-harvest handling and storage quality maintenance is 60%. Then maybe we're in the wrong business. We're farmers who've become refrigeration operators, quality chemists, and logistics coordinators. And when any non-farming component fails, everything fails. Martinez understood. His daughter was identifying the fundamental transformation. San Luis Valley potato production had evolved from agriculture into food manufacturing supply chain operations, where technical infrastructure and quality control protocols mattered more than traditional farming skills, and capital requirements for redundant systems exceeded what family operations could finance sustainably. By 8:50 p.m., the emergency cooling units were operational. Facility temperature dropped to 37.2 degrees Fahrenheit by 11:40 p.m. and stabilized at 36.8 degrees Fahrenheit by 2 a.m. On September 27th, Martinez sampled potatoes at 6 a.m., testing specific gravity, 1.082, acceptable, and extracting tuber samples for reducing sugar analysis that would take 48 hours to complete. The visual appearance looked good, but chemistry determined processor acceptance. The and sugar conversion could occur invisibly before manifesting as dark fry color during processing. The permanent compressor arrived September 28th at 2 p.m. Installation required 14 hours, including refrigerant charging and system testing. The facility returned to full operational capacity September 29th at 4 a.m. Total crisis costs: $26,400 emergency cooling, $28,000 compressor replacement, $8,200 installation labor. Combined, $62,600 consumed from what should have been a $485,000 net income year. The equipment failure had eliminated 13% of projected annual profit. Frito-Lay's quality inspector arrived October 1st to sample Martinez's storage. The inspector extracted 50-pound samples from 6 different storage rooms, testing specific gravity, average 1.081, acceptable, measuring reducing sugars, 0.12%, within spec, and then conducting fry tests where potato slices were cooked at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 2.5 minutes, and color measured using L-value reflectance meters. Results: L values ranging from 51 to 54 across samples. All acceptable. The emergency cooling had worked. Product quality remained within specification. But the stress of managing a 72-hour crisis, where $1.2 million in contract value hung on temperature control, had consumed Martinez and his family completely. Ray Martinez continued potato farming through 2026, managing storage systems, coordinating with processors, and watching margins compress as fertilizer costs increased 24%, while processor contract prices remained flat at $10.50 per SATU. In spring 2027, Frito-Lay announced new sourcing requirements. Chip potato suppliers must deliver minimum 50,000 CWD annually, beginning in 2028, a 56% increase over Martinez's current 32,000 CWD production. Meeting the new minimum required expanding to 1,250 acres and investing $1.2 million in additional storage capacity with redundant cooling systems preventing future quality crises. He met with Elena in April 2027 to discuss expansion feasibility. The analysis was stark. Expansion required $3.4 million in land acquisition and storage infrastructure against current net income of $485,000 annually. At 8 to 10-year payback periods, Martinez would be 70 years old before recovering investment costs. Elena had no interest in inheriting debt-financed expansion into an industry where processor consolidation and volume requirements were systematically eliminating mid-sized growers. Elena, we either scale up to meet Frito-Lay's minimum, or we exit chip processing contracts entirely and compete in fresh market where margins are half what we're earning now. Dad, scaling up just increases our dependency on a single buyer who can change contract terms unilaterally. Fresh market means competing with Idaho and Washington operations with lower costs. Neither option works for our scale. They explored third alternatives. Lease the operation to larger San Luis Valley potato growers consolidating acreage. Sell to regional potato corporations, or exit potato production for alternative crops. The valley's 60,000 acres were consolidating into fewer, larger operations with capital and storage infrastructure that family growers had pioneered but could no longer sustain profitably. Ray Martinez sold his 800-acre operation to a regional potato corporation managing 4,800 acres across the San Luis Valley in fall 2027. The sale, $18,000 per acre for land, plus $1.6 million for equipment and storage infrastructure, generated $16 million gross. After settling debt, Martinez netted $8.2 million. Elena took a position with Frito-Lay as a raw material quality manager, using her Colorado State food science education and family potato knowledge to specify quality standards for the growers who had replaced her family's operation. San Luis Valley's 60,000 acres continue producing 28 million subit of chip processing potatoes annually at 7,500-plus feet elevation. Storing in 30-plus controlled atmosphere facilities, maintaining 36 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures for 8 to 10 months. Supplying Frito-Lay and regional manufacturers requiring specific gravity above 1.080 and fry color L values above 50. The GPS-guided diggers harvest potatoes regardless of farm ownership. The storage facilities maintain temperature regardless of who built them. The quality chemistry determines processor acceptance regardless of which families developed the agronomic practices. The system functions through precision that family operations created, but can no longer operate profitably at scales too small for infrastructure redundancy and volume commitments processors now require. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve these histories of American agriculture's transformation. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and whether you understand the storage infrastructure pressures crushing specialty crop growers. Thank you for keeping their stories alive.